Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So, first stream in a long time, but it's going to be a short one today because we'll be going somewhere to watch the MLB draft a little bit. We'll see what the Nats do there. But just going to be talking about the Commanders and just a bunch of different things that, they're going to be doing in the next couple weeks, real quick. And I will be having Juan Gotti on here in a little bit. So, we should have a lot of fun talking about, Commanders, Josh Harris, and much, much more. So should be an interesting one for sure. Give me 1 second to get something. I got to text a link to Juan. All right, we back. So yeah, should be a good one. In less than 2 weeks, we got Josh Harris coming in as the owner and training camp right after that. So really, really excited for that. Let's see what's up, Brendan. Appreciate you for coming through. And I've been doing solid for sure. How about you? And yeah, right now is the dry period of the off season, but soon things are going to start to pick up again in the next 2 weeks. Or yeah, this will start to pick up. Not sure why my thing's image is reloading, but in the next 2 weeks, things are going to start to really, really ramp up in terms of, okay, Josh Harris, he's going to be voted in, I believe, on the 20th. And then the 21st, you might have a press conference. And then after that, training camp starts, I think, the week after that. So a lot of things are going to happen in the next, couple weeks. And that should be good for a lot of monumental things for the Commanders. And I think, yeah, absolutely huge stuff right there. What's up, Michael? Appreciate you coming through. And yeah, what's up, Elias? It's been first stream in a while for me. So I'm excited to be back. Okay, yeah, Gus Bus. Appreciate you for letting me know. I think it's the connection. My Wi-Fi has been acting up a little bit. Let me see. Like, is my audio choppy or image or both? Just let me know. Brendan says it's been all right. It's been boring without football around. Yeah, for sure. It's been very boring, but should be back pretty. I mean, once we get to training camp, that's when things are going to be pretty much back to normal. We'll get training camp, and then preseason, and then the regular season, and then playoffs. Hopefully, the Commanders are in that. But even if they're not, the playoffs are still very entertaining. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I can try to refresh my page. Hopefully, once Juan comes in, I can refresh and hopefully it's better. I don't know why, but my Wi-Fi has been acting up a little bit. But I'll try to refresh once Juan comes in. Let me go ahead and look at my settings real quick. Yeah, sorry, this is a little bit rushed right here. Just got done with dinner, got out of the shower. But give me some things you guys want to talk about in the comments down below. Go ahead and ask some questions. I want to talk about some expectations for players. So guys like Chase Young, Jahan Dotson, and guys that I'm excited to see, how they're doing in the offseason and training camp and stuff. So give me some players you guys are excited to hear about and watch in training camp and the preseason. Some guys for me, Jahan Dotson, want to see how he looks year 2. Emmanuel Forbes, want to see if he really is living up to the hype. And then after that, I'm trying to think of some sleepers. Jamin Davis, want to see how he looks. And let's see. I'm trying to think of who else. Percy Butler's a guy I'm definitely intrigued with for sure. 100% intrigued with Percy Butler. Sean White says celebrate on the 20th. Yes, we do for sure. I mean, that's going to be one of the best. Connection's not good. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, that day is going to be a very, very good day in Washington Commanders Redskins history. Sorry, I was just pulling it up on my phone. The kid from UCLA, Casimir Allen. We'll see. Hopefully he's healthy because he was, injured a little bit a little while ago. So hopefully he is back, but we'll see. So I'm just gonna try to fix some things up. I'm sorry for the for it being choppy. First time in a while, but I think that's just it's not even that. It's just the connection, the Wi-Fi is really, really bad here today. Do not know why. Let's see. 4,300 passing yards and 35 touchdowns, 11 plus games. If that happens, the Commanders are 100% winning 11 plus games. But I don't know. I see that as highly unlikely. So great. My image went away. Everything is going wrong. Sean White says, I want to see Chris Rodriguez a lot in the preseason. I want to see him too, or in the preseason a lot for sure. I'm trying to think of some other guys. Chris Rodriguez for sure. Gibson. I want to see Gibson and how he's used in the offense, because every year it's like, oh, he's going to be used more in the passing game. And then every year it's like, okay, he doesn't end up being used in the passing game. So, excited for him. Fedarian Mathis is one for sure that Michael Starkey says. I think KJ Henry is another guy I'm excited to see. And then Quan Moore. The Shiny One says we'll see a lot of more 5-1-5 looks on defense, which means Chase or Tez will be dropping back in coverage sometimes with that look. And I think I remember them dropping back in coverage. Not too much, but a couple times last year. I'm really ready to see the Bieniemy effect on this offense. I am too. And I'm just excited to not see just boneheaded decisions by Scott Turner every single week. And I saw it broke up again there. And Gus Bus says, I think Chris Rodriguez leads us in rushing over our last 10 games. That is a really hot take. I can't say I agree with that, but hey, I respect the hot take. And we got my guy Juan on here. And let me add him to the stream. Let's see. Trying to add him. It is like I clicked add like a minute ago and it still hasn't added him. But whenever it adds him in, I'll introduce him, but it's taken a while. I don't know why. I see one. Okay. Did it work? I don't know. I see one in the background, or in the lobby, but he's not, it's not putting him in. But I'm just going to keep doing it. And then hopefully once he comes on, I can hopefully fix my connection. Stefan says Sam Howell throws for 4,050 yards with that would be a bold. That would be crazy. Actually, I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking 45 touchdowns. 4,050 yards with 28 touchdowns is doable. That's doable for sure. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I could see him getting close to 4,000 yards. And 28 touchdowns is going to add you on. My bad. I don't know what's going on right now. The Wi-Fi is just terrible today, but we're going to work through it. Let's see. F, it says, I want to see Scary Terry get 12 to 1,400. I think he will. I think we'll get over 1,200 for sure. But 1,400, that might be pushing a little bit. But, hey, he's got that talent. He's got that talent for sure. And I think he could do it. Let's see. I don't know if it would make a difference, but maybe I can do it through my phone. Let's see. It's crazy how everyone is sleeping on. Yeah, they kind of do it every year. But okay. I think I finally, I don't know. Is Juan showing up on your guys' screen? It's showing up split screen for me. I don't know if he's on right now.
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
This is just a mess. I think Juan's on. I just can't see him. Juan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I can't hear him. Let's see. Juan, if you don't mind, could you answer a couple questions in the chat or just just talk a little bit and then I'm gonna try to get back on here if you can do that.
All right, man. I
appreciate it, bro.
What's good, y'all? It's been a minute since I've been live though. What's up with y'all, man? It's your boy Juan Gotti here. Any questions y'all got? I know it's pretty much dead, but we almost through it. And training camp is here. Once training camp gets here, y'all know it's gonna be go time with the content. Got a lot coming in store. Let's see. I guess we was doing like stat predictions and stuff. Let's see. I want to see Terry get 12 to 1,400 yards. I that's what I think. Honestly, I think that's because I made a video where I was talking about Terry taking that extra leap, making that All-Pro year. And I think with having a quarterback like Sam Howell, he could potentially finally take that next step. So I definitely see that. The shiny ones, I think 24 touchdowns and 10, 15 interceptions is just fine for Sam. If he does this, we make the playoffs. We need more turnovers on defense, though. Yeah, that's what I see. Like honestly, I mean, I was on a show the other day, and I said like 20. I said like 25 touchdowns, like 10 interceptions, 20, 20 like 20 passing, like 5 on the ground, because we do gotta account for his legs. So I think he's gonna at least give us 5 on the ground. So I think like 25 and 10. And that's cool, honestly. That's cool. Like I would love for Sam Howell to come in here and turn up and like just go crazy and just, you know what I'm saying, I have like a 40 touchdown year and stuff like that. But we know that's probably not realistic. So I definitely would love be fine rather with just that, honestly speaking.
I
He's back.
I mean, I can see you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, bro. Appreciate you holding it down while I was gone. Of
Yeah,
course,
no problem,
make
bro.
sure you guys subscribe to Juan. Haven't done a stream in a while, but had to get my guy
Yeah,
Juan on here. Make sure you guys subscribe to him. Been posting a ton of content lately. I've been watching. It's been good. I saw the reaction from a couple of weeks ago of your first video. That was
yeah,
great to see. You go ahead, check that out. Juan's come a long way. So have I.
yeah. I
I'm sorry, I
appreciate you.
haven't even looked at. I mean, I've looked at some of my first videos on my channel from like 6-7 years ago, but I haven't looked at like my Commanders videos. I might have to go ahead and just look at that and see how much like we've grown. I mean, it was just
Yes,
crazy to
sir.
see.
Yes,
But
sir.
that was a good video. Go ahead and check that out and check out all of the
Okay.
other videos Juan has been posting. I'm gonna about to put his name in the title so you guys can go ahead and subscribe to him. But how's it been going, Juan?
Thank you, man. I appreciate you for having me on. First of all, yeah, it's been a little minute since we have done a stream. But it feels good to be back. I know we're almost through that dead period of the off season, man. And once training camp gets here, we'll, have much more stuff to talk about. But it's been solid, we've been trying to, make videos and stuff, even though it hasn't been much to talk about. That like this is the toughest part about being like a video maker during this time, because it's like it's no mini camp, no nothing's going on. So it's always the toughest part. But once you get through that's when things start to ramp up. So things has been alright, but I'm just waiting to get more content out and more stuff happen so we can have much stuff to talk about. But I appreciate you having me on again.
Yeah, exactly. Once the season starts, once the new ownership comes in, that's when I feel like everything's going to start. We're going to get the ownership. We're going to be able to talk about that. And then, the press conference, and then training camp preview, and then training camp. And then we got preseason, and we got the regular season, and then we're there. I mean, we're going to be entertained for a long time. So I'm excited for that. So let's see. A lot of people are talking about stat predictions. What were you talking about when I was kind of fixing the mess?
Yeah, I was just reading the comments. I was going off of the stat predictions that y'all was already talking about. That's pretty much what I was doing.
All right, let's see. Some people are saying 24 touchdowns and 10 to 15 receptions will be. I think that's kind of realistic. Like, sorry, guys, I've seen some predictions like this on Twitter, like 35 touchdowns and like 6 interceptions. Guys, let's keep it real. There's like 1 or 2 quarterbacks doing that in the NFL, like Patrick Mahomes, and that's really it. Like every once in a while, a QB does that, 35-5. Like, let's keep it real. Hal isn't doing that. If Hal goes out there and throws 25 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, that is so much better than what we had last year. Even if it's 25 and like 14, that's still better. And then you also add in his rushing, which I think will be like probably 400, 500, and like a few touchdowns, maybe like 5 touchdowns there. That'll help out. But like, we got to temper the expectations a bit, because we always do this, and I'm sure all fan bases do it, but just temper the expectations. So some people are going Jahan. What's up, Nick? Someone says I would feel like Jahan would get 890 with 12 TDs. I would be okay with that, but like, this is year 2 for Jahan, and also year 2 as a first round pick. I think he needs to get 1K plus. Or let's say he plays like 14 games and he gets like 900. Okay, that's fine. But like, you got to get 1K plus as a first round pick in your second season. You look at Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, each got over 1,000 yards in the rookie year, and they were drafted a little bit higher than him, and they were the number one receivers. But I don't know. I think this year he's got to eat. If he doesn't get 1,000, but he plays like 14 games and is like 950, or he's on that 1,000 yard pace, that's fine. But he's got to be around that type of player. And then in year 3 is when he really explodes. But I'm excited. I think Jahan can have a big year. He looks like he's bigger. I mean, I saw a video. He said he bench presses like 330, which I don't know if I believe, maybe, but still, or I think it might have been more. But he's been getting in the gym. I saw him working out with Odell, Zay Flowers, and Elijah Moore. So he's been getting that work in, and I'm excited to see what he can do this year.
Yeah, for me personally, I think Jahan's gonna get 1,000, man. I mean, he missed 5 games last year, and he finished like 500 yards and I think like 7 touchdowns or whatever. He would have definitely. I think I keep saying this. I think if he never got hurt and played all 17 games, he would have had his name in the offensive rookie of the year discussion. And
I agree.
he was gonna finish with like I think at least 12 touchdowns on the year. Like he was gonna have come close to 1,000, if not get 1,000. So I think for sure this year he's gonna get 1,000. And I love Terry, and I think Terry can reach another level. But I genuinely think Sam Howell's guy is going to be Jahan Dawson. Like they just seem like they have this connection. That obviously the first command, they were in a part of that first Commanders draft class. They went through the whole draft process together, and then mini camp and then training camp. Like they're tight. So I genuinely think like Jahan may be the go-to guy for Sam Howell. Obviously, Terry's gonna be Terry and get his, and he should be the vocal point of the offense, no question. But I think in certain packages, in certain situations, Jahan may be that go-to guy for Sam Howell. So I think there's no question that if Jahan Dawson stays healthy, if Sam Howell is healthy and actually can be what we think he can be, I think Jahan it's no question that he gets 1,000 yards.
Yeah, and I did the calculations last year. If he would have, let's say, just played 17 games, he would have been on pace for like, I think 750, and I think it was either 10 or 12 touchdowns. But the first 3 games he came back from the injury, first off, he was, limited, but also they ran the ball like so much those games. In the Falcons game, the Texans game, and I think it was the Eagles. Like Jahan got like, I think, a total of 3 targets in those 3 games, which is, or it might have been like 4 or 5, which is like he needs 5 catches in a game, not 5 targets in 3 games. So like I went back and looked at the targets, and the only person that was a receiver that was getting targeted in those 3 games was Terry. Everyone else was, maybe a couple tight ends were getting carried or targets, and then a couple running backs. Besides that, it was just they were running the rock. So I think if that wouldn't have happened, and let's say he never gets hurt, and they actually give, don't run the ball. Like I like running the ball, but at a certain point, like you got those guys, you got Terry, you drafted John in the first round for a reason. Use him. I think he could have gotten close to 1,000, like 8, not or like at least 900. I think he could have gotten, and again, double-digit touchdowns. But this is the year for him. I would love if like Jahan and Terry can get both 1,000 yards, and I want Terry like. Everyone knows how good Terry is, or I mean, everyone respects Terry in the league, but I want people to like, everyone undoubtedly like, okay, after this year, he's a top 10 guy, he's a top 7 guy, because that's not like a lot of people say he's borderline. And honestly, that's fine to say he's borderline because he hasn't put up top 10 receiver numbers, but that's also because he's had worst quarterback in the league play the last few years. So if you can get him okay quarterback play or even below average quarterback play, I think Terry is going to get you at least 1,250 this year, at least 1,250. But I think he can get you 1,300 plus because he was at 1,191 last year, which sucks because he was 9 yards away from 1,200 and he dropped a pass from Howell in that last game that like Howell threw it perfectly that led him and he dropped it, which was unfortunate. But I think that, they'll get there. And I think, that combination is going to be looked at as like, okay, maybe not like the same as Tyreek Hill and maybe not the same as Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but like right after that, it might be them. I'm trying to think who are some other like best receiver duos. I mean, you could have said Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Now it's, I guess, it's him and Jordan Addison. I'm trying to think any other, like, I guess Lockett and Metcalf. But I think, honestly, this season, Terry and Jahan could surpass them because I think Terry's better than DK, but Jahan last year definitely wasn't better than Lockett, but this year he could be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can probably throw in maybe Keenan Allen and Mike Williams still, or Keenan Allen or
Maybe
Mike Williams
CeeDee
and
Lamb and Brandon Cooks, I guess.
yeah, or like or the other guy that they just drafted, maybe Quentin Johnson or something like that. Uh, Hunter Renfro and Devontae
Devontae
Adams, maybe.
Adams.
I mean, I think they're up there when it comes to wide receiver duos. I don't really think there's like a discussion for that part of it, because I don't really know that many duos that have already. Maybe Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I don't know
Oh
if you
yeah,
mentioned
I
them.
forgot AJ and Devontae.
Um,
That's an obvious one.
yeah, AJ Brown and Devonta Smith definitely. So I definitely think without a doubt they're top 10. But I mean I don't know where you probably would rank that duo. Uh, I don't think
Yeah,
you can put Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson over them just because we don't obviously but by himself Justin Jefferson is better than Terry and Jahan. But I mean, I guess for that something like you probably could put them over them. But if we're talking like duos, you don't know what Jordan Addison is yet, so you probably can. But I mean, you never
yeah,
know because Justin Jefferson is just that good by himself. Maybe I don't know if you consider Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs still a duo. I feel like Gabe Davis kind of fell off a little bit after that year prior where he was just going crazy. I mean, he's obviously
in
still
the playoffs.
serviceable.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's still serviceable, but he didn't have that explosive year like everyone thought. So for sure, without a doubt, they're top 10. Now I don't know where you put them inside that top 10.
Yeah.
That may just be up to you or whatever, or like other people. They may just be right there, like
I
on the
think
edge of 10.
I think they're right there because Terry's got that respect, but after like Jahan is good, but you don't know how good he is yet. He hasn't earned that respect of like some of these other guys like T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle. Like those guys have gotten I think T. Higgins has 1,000-yard seasons, and
Yeah,
like they're more respected than Jahan. Jahan's like respected, but not like yet. This year is the year where okay, they can go from top 10, top 12 to top 5 if he really shows out. And then you add in Curtis Samuel, who someone said predictions for Samuel. I'll go like I think Curtis Samuel gets you like 750 yards and like what do you think? Like 150 rushing yard,
yeah. I
100
mean,
rushing yards?
somewhere around there. I mean, but quickly, T Higgins has 1,000 yards in back-to-back years. In
Yeah.
his first 2 years, so he's definitely a wide receiver one if he wasn't on the Bengals for sure. I mean, I think let's look at it. Yeah, he had 1,000 last year, 1,000 the year prior. At first, I thought he had more than Jamar Chase last year because Jamar Chase was hurt, but he didn't. But for Curtis, yeah, definitely like 700 and 700 yards and like maybe 100 on the ground. I think more than anything, I think Curtis Samuel touchdowns. He probably may lead the wide receivers in touchdowns, or maybe even offense in touchdowns. Probably him and Brown Robinson, because I feel like he's gonna be used so much and much more like down there in the scoring, in the red zone and stuff like that. So I think 700, maybe 800. Like that's the one thing about Curtis Samuel. He's due for a contract, by the way. Like a lot of people originally may thought his production as far as like stats would be more, but I think honestly that right there, considering the fact what we've done with the wide receiver position as a whole, you don't really need that much out of Curtis as far as like 1,000, like you know what I'm saying? Like cool, 700, 800 is fine with like 100, on the ground and whatnot. But even that may be tempered a little bit because you got Antonio Gibson in this new role. You got Brian Robinson as the bell cow, and you obviously want to see what Chris Rodriguez can do. So maybe even Curtis may actually be used more of a receiver this year than an actual running back because of the new role that Antonio Gibson is going to be thrusted in. That's also another thing to look at too.
Yeah, I think with Curtis, okay, obviously the stats are great, and I think he'll get you around, I don't know, 850-ish total yards, give or take 100. Like I think that's pretty comfortable prediction. Like I don't think like his range is low, like is lower than someone like Jahan. Like I think Jahan, I think he'll probably get you 1,000, but I could see as low as like 700. But I also could, or not like 750, but I also could see 1,200. But with Curtis, it's like I think the lowest I see him is like 650, and maybe the highest is like 850, 900. Real quick, Gus Bus says, "Who's your dream pick for the Nats?" And that is partly why I'm going to end the stream a little bit early today, because I'm going somewhere to see the draft, and it does start at 7, but it's really going to start a little bit later. I'm not a big college baseball guy and even an MLB guy, but I do like Skeens, a pitcher out of LSU, or Dylan Cruz. Either one of those two. Probably want Cruz, but either one of those two at 2 is great. And one of them is gonna be there. Hopefully the Pirates take Langford though, so we can get, or Max Clark, so we can get an option. And shout out someone from my high school is actually going to get drafted tonight. Bryce Eldridge, if you guys know, I don't know if you guys know, but he's a pitcher / hitter out of Madison High School. He's like 6'7", and he's probably going to be drafted in like the 20s around that. So, hey, look out for his name. That should be a cool moment for the city here. But yeah, that's going to be cool if he gets drafted to. I mean, he's not going to get drafted to the Nats. That would be really cool, but might get drafted to like the Orioles, who might need a pitcher as well. But Juan, I know you're more of a baseball guy than me. You have any thoughts real quick before we get back to football on who the Nats want to take? And have you heard of Bryce Eldridge or no?
Say what was the last thing you said?
Have you heard of Bryce Eldridge or no?
Yeah, I remember you had told me about like a couple of years ago that he was like a really good prospect that was going to be coming out. So yeah, I mean, I know the top 2 picks. They're the second pick. I mean, they're probably about to pick as we talk, because Pittsburgh is on the clock according to Gus Bus. So if it isn't Skeens, who is arguably the best arm, actually not arguably the best arm in the draft, you could easily take him, add him to the rotation with Josiah Gray, and then Kay Cavalli, who's going to be coming back off of Tommy John next year, to have some young arms in that rotation to kind of push out Steven Strasburg, who obviously his body's shutting down on him. Patrick Corbin hasn't been the same either. So I could definitely see us getting adding another young arm to the rotation, or you can get Dylan Cruz, outfielder that can help out too. I mean, James Wood is going to be coming up in a couple years. The thing is about the Nationals, we want some guys from college, like from LSU and stuff like that, because they can come in and immediately play. Like Skeens could come in next year and be already called up, but we don't really need to rush because we're in this rebuild process. So you could potentially take a guy that's going to take a couple years to possibly work up in the minors. But I mean, it would be great to get a guy that can immediately come in and make an impact. So I think if the Pirates don't take Skeens, I think that's probably going to be the pick, or it's going to be Dylan Cruz. I mean, you could potentially, take Walker Jenkins or somebody like that, but I think it's between those two guys, without a doubt. Maybe Rat Lauder as another pitcher, but other than that, I think it's with those two guys. Because I mean, you're picking number 2, so you
exactly.
Really.
And I think that, and real quick, we'll get back to football in a second, and probably end in the next 10 minutes or so, because where I'm going is really close. But I just want to make it for the Nats pick, which is 2. But I think the Nats actually have, I know they're trash right now, but I think they do have a little bit of a bright future, because, their farm system, I think is definitely top 10. And then right now, and then it's going to keep rising because Brady House is looking really good. James Wood is like number 5 prospect in baseball. And, then you have whoever we draft tonight, that's going to bring up our system. Like, I think the Nats are hopefully heading in the same direction as the Baltimore Orioles, where, the rebuild, maybe a little bit of a shorter rebuild, but I think in the next, 3 years or so, we'll start to get back into it. I think, Mackenzie Gore looks good. Josiah Gray looks good. CJ Abrams is up and down, but like, I still believe in him. You got Lane Thomas, who's been balling out. So we'll see. And we'll probably sell at the deadline, get some more prospects. So should be good. Okay. Back to football real quick. We're going to wrap it up in a bit. I know it's very, very short. The Pirates, I believe, are on the clock now, so I got to hurry up. But talk about Curtis Samuel. Gibson is the one guy, man. I think I'm excited for Gibson. And I think, like, when we were talking about like maybe signing Kareem Hunt, I was like, okay, if we do that, I want Gibson almost as a receiver. Like I want Gibson as a guy that's lining up on the line of scrimmage like all the time. Cause like, bro, he could do so much. Like, okay, because let's keep it real. As a running back himself, like just running the football, he's nothing really that special. Like, I'm not saying he's bad. What's up, LV X have or Cav? What's good? Yeah, like Gibson, he's solid running back, but I'm not like he's nothing like wow, that guy is so good. But as a receiver, I think he can be something like okay, he's a really good receiving back in this league. I think he can be that guy, and I think if they play him a little bit more as a hybrid, as a receiver and running back, and have him run routes out of the on the line of scrimmage, I think it would work, or even out of the backfield, just like a wheel route or whatever. I think it would work, and it would. I think Bieniemy might do that, even with Brian Robinson a little bit, but that doesn't mean I think Gibson shouldn't get any carries, but that's more I'm talking about if they sign Hunt. But even if they don't sign Hunt, which they probably won't, I still want Gibson getting like 4 or 5 targets a game as a receiver / running back. I think he needs to get those targets because, I mean, he's more talented, I believe, as a receiver than a running back. And you need to get him the ball in space. Handing him the ball off, like he's not in space that much. Like, he's just there's a bunch of guys there, especially with our offensive line. But if you give him a screen pass, like he can do things with that. Or if you give him a little slant, like a simple slant route that he can easily run, he'll be in space and he can do the rest. Like that's what he did in college. He just was a big play machine. But we haven't really been able to see that here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both the Curtis Samuel take and Antonio Gibson take. I remember I made a video on the Kareem Hunt thing. I just don't see them doing that. Like unless something catastrophic happens in training camp, I think we're pretty fine with our running backs. The thing is with Antonio Gibson, I personally want him back. Like I think he's done enough to get back. To be signed back here, but I don't know if they actually like how much they value him as far as his contract is going to go next season. But I think he's done enough, and I think this year he's going to have a chip on his shoulder and want to prove that he's worthy of that contract extension. So that definitely is going to be something fun to watch. And like you mentioned, you can get both of them out in space, and that's why I said earlier I don't know how much Curtis Samuel rather is going to be used as more of like that backfield guy. Maybe they use both of them in that aspect of things at the same time because it's not a crime to do that. But I think the new role for Antonio Gibson is going to be exactly that. So he may get all the attention when it comes to being that hybrid guy. And Curtis Samuel may just be used more so of that slot guy. But who knows? That's the thing with Eric Bieniemy is that it's a lot of motion in the offense. So it's definitely things that can happen that may shock you as far as having double backfield guys. We've seen that multiple times, and even in Scott Turner's offense, we've seen it. I mean, we had times where Terry was in the backfield, he motioned right. It really didn't do nothing because they never actually gave him the ball out there. But it's been times where you've seen flashes of Curtis Samuel and Antonio Gibson being used. Like, I mean, in week 1 versus the Jaguars last year, you saw Antonio Gibson run a little like corner route out of the backfield. That was a big play. You saw Curtis Samuel, same thing with him, handoffs and, making people look silly, man. So I definitely see it where there is an opportunity for both of these guys to be used in the same kind of role at the same time. But again, I think Curtis Samuel may be in for a big like receiver year, honestly, more than anything.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I think we're gonna go ahead and end the stream here because I know a lot of people are gonna be watching the draft. It was a quick one, but it's been a while since I streamed, so I just want to go ahead and get back on it. And yeah, videos will be coming this next week. Maybe we can set up another stream later on this week and actually sit down and like do it a little bit more. But just a lot going on today for me, so I just couldn't do it for too long and not early enough. But yeah. Appreciate Juan for coming on. Make sure you guys sub up to him. Juan Gotti Talking Sports. Again, you guys already know, but make sure you guys sub up to him. And yeah, thanks for coming on, Juan, and everyone. Thanks for watching the stream.
Peace. All right, man. I appreciate you for having me on. As always, like Pedro said, you can find me on One Guy Talking Sports on all social media platforms and YouTube. So hit that subscribe button for both of us. And again, Pedro, thank you for having me on as always. I look forward to doing this again.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Peace, guys.
Peace.